Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Batman Beyond review series. And today I am here once again to provide an audio commentary watch along for another episode from Season 2. This time it's Earth Mover, one of my favourites from the show's second season. So, whenever I get asked out of all of the Batman Beyond episodes, which one do I consider to be the darkest of all time? There are a lot of dark episodes in Batman Beyond, and you've heard me say this on a number of occasions. Batman Beyond, in terms of tone, was a lot more darker than BTAS slash TMBA. But if there was one episode that I had to choose that really embodied the grittiness and darkness of Batman Beyond, I would probably choose Earth Mover. Earth Mover was an episode that really went all out in terms of embracing not only the horror aspects, but really the gritty stuff that we all know when it comes to horror. And I remember watching this episode on CITV about 100 years ago. And I remember this episode was really good. And I was quite shocked at how they could air such a dark episode on kids' TV on Sunday morning. And I remember this episode being really powerful. It was very emotional, and the idea of somebody falling into a hole with chemicals dumped on him, essentially killing that person, and he's embedded into the ground, and his remains have the ability to create these deep tremors and earthquakes. And I remember seeing this giant, what looked like a mud monster of sorts, but it was actually dirt. My initial thoughts were, okay, so this is Clayface Beyond, because we all know Clayface in the original show was this big, giant mud monster. But this monster was something a lot more darker and a lot more sinister. And then it reminded me of Prometheus from Superman the Animated Series. But Prometheus was a giant beast. But with the Earth Mover, this was someone who was once human. And I thought this episode did a really good job in the storytelling, the emotional side of things. It really pushed the boundaries of what friendship and family means. And sometimes mistakes can happen. And sometimes, when things do happen, you're not thinking straight. All of these themes were tackled really well in this episode. And I remember Earth Mover being downright scary. you know, there are very few episodes in a Batman cartoon that I could say that this was really scary. I think the only other episode that really terrified me when I first watched it was On Leather Wings, and that was mainly for the transformation of Kirk Langstrom into Man-Bat. A completely different thing, of course. But what I've always liked about DC animation, especially as where the DCAU is concerned, when they embraced the horror aspects, they did a magnificent job and they weren't afraid to go all in and they held nothing back with this episode. And I really enjoyed this one. And when I did a rewatch of the show about 5 years ago, back in 2020, and I came to this episode, I remember watching this again, and it was still as good as I remembered, if not better. And I remember watching this thinking, damn, this is really dark, really intense. I still ask myself this question: how did they get away with, airing such a powerful and dark episode on Sunday morning kids' TV? But they did, and you know what? I'm glad they did it because this was a really good one. And I've always talked about what my favorite episodes were from season one of Batman Beyond. But since we're now into season two, this episode would probably be right at the top. This would probably be in my top three. This would definitely be in my top three for sure because this was a really good episode. Splicers was a great start for season two, but this one, Earth Mover, just kicked it into overdrive. It was like, okay, we've done Splicers. You thought that was dark. Wait till you get a load of this. And it didn't disappoint one bit. So that's it. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk and watch Earth Mover. And on three. One, two, three. Here we go. Do, 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 do. So, Earth Mover, a favourite of mine from season two. It's interesting, with this episode, it could have been a movie, because this definitely had a movie feel to it in terms of the way the story was told. And as I said, it was very powerful, incredibly intense. And as I said, the idea of a corpse embedded in the ground, controlling dirt and creating earthquakes was very intriguing and very well done. And I'm quite surprised something like this wasn't made into a horror movie because it has all the hallmarks to be a horror movie in terms of the way this story was told. So here we are. It's been a while since I've seen this, so I may forget some of this, but what I do remember is this was a very good episode. So here's Terry and Dana doing their homework. I love these two. I love Terry and Dana. They're so cool. And this is their classmate, Jackie, who you can clearly see is hiding a big secret because she's constantly looking out the window. More on that in a moment. It's funny, this episode just starts off like any other Batman Beyond episode. Obviously the show is a lot more high school driven than the original shows, but about a few minutes in, you realise that everything's going to change. And this is Bill. Bill is, I'm going to say, like her stepdad or foster dad. He's a friend of her dad's. More on that in a moment as well. And he comes across as like a really nice guy, but there's something different about him. And Terry has obviously spotted something. And oh boy, Terry, you're in for a bit of a surprise. Yeah, don't give away your Batman identity, Terry. So there's this thing made of dirt. I seriously thought when I first watched this episode, I actually thought this was a Clayface Beyond. Look at the size of that guy. Kapow! I truly thought he was Clayface Beyond, but he wasn't. Then he reminded me of Prometheus from Superman animated series in terms of the design. But yeah, good start. Wow. He just like broke this guy into like 1,000 pieces. Uh oh. Something very spooky is going on here. So our man Bruce is checking the dirt. I swear to you, it was alive. Um, yeah, Bruce ain't buying it. I like how Terry's putting so much emphasis on. I swear to you, Bruce, it was alive. Wilfred, he's so cool as the voice of Terry. So here's Dana and Jackie. uh, it's funny how this is such a high school driven episode. I'm surprised this wasn't aired on Halloween. It's definitely got like a Halloween feel to it. And Terry touches a bit of a raw nerve here. Oh, your dad seems nice. He's not my dad, all right? So clearly there's something going on there. So Bill does come across as a nice guy, and he is, but there's something not right. Aw. Terry's such a gentleman. He lets Dana wear his jacket. That is such a gentleman thing to do. Uh oh. Oh boy. And we see a canister of radioactive waste. Oh. Don't touch it, Jackie. Oh my god. Whoa. Oh dear. Yep, there's like a whole army of earth movers. Here comes the man. The Batman. Wow. I think this is the first episode that I can remember that Terry actually battled a real larger scale opponent, because if you look at all the villains he's faced going all the way back to season 1, a lot of them, they all had their thing, but they were a lot more grounded. So, while they were threats to Terry in their own way, he never really had to face such a much larger scale opponent. Well, that's quite scary. I'm guessing the one with the glowing green eyes is the main Earth mover. Wow. It's cool. I like it. What I also like about these things is, they don't speak, they don't growl. It's almost like they're zombies in a way. Whoa. Oh dear. Yeah. Terry's never faced anything like this before. Bruce has, to a point. But yeah, I like this. Gives something new for Terry to battle. That's just unfair advantage. He's stuck in the ground, and this thing is just like pounding away on him. Uh oh. Oh no, you don't. Wow. Look out. Yeah. Like Terry said, the ground was alive. So Bruce obviously hears about the earthquakes. So Bruce has obviously checked the chemical waste. Wow. Don't you read the news? It was only about 10 years ago. I was seven. Well, oh, I love the little things with Bruce and Terry. You know, when Bruce says these little things to Terry, Terry's like, I wasn't even born, Bruce. How am I supposed to know? You know, that little line here where he says, I was 7 years old, Bruce. Oh, um, okay. Well, sorry. How was I supposed to know? Yeah. So Bill obviously knows that something isn't right. Oh, whoa. Yeah, I love that. That is a cool shot. This is where Bill starts to really lose it here. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. Oh, oh wow. Yeah, this is where Bill starts to confess. That is a cool shot. Just him standing there because we're so used to seeing Batman standing in the shadows with a cape. But to see him just standing there without a cape, I think it makes him look even more scary. I think. So we get a flashback of Bill working with Jackie's dad, Tony. So they were partners working, I think they were like doing like construction of sorts. So obviously, from what it appears here, they were good friends at one time. So they opened like a cabinet of sorts that leads to underground, and you see a chemical waste here. So I think they're like doing mining of sorts. So oh, and we see like the chemicals like hooked. Okay, here we go. Boom. Uh oh. So we see the whole ceiling collapses on Tony. This is what I'm talking about. This is so dark. So the whole place is collapsed and all chemical waste. Look at that! Oh my god. For a cartoon, this is quite horrific. So Bill thought that Tony died when the whole place collapsed on him, and then all the chemicals fell on top of him as well. So what's happened is that Jackie's dad, all the chemicals and all the dirt, all his body embedded into the ground, and that's how he's able to create these earthquakes. Hence the name Earth Mover. Wow. Oh boy. Yay! So it's like this underground cavern. Damn. Oh my god. Scary stuff here. So now he's pulled their house into the ground. Yep. This is a lot more darker than I remembered. But this is really good so far. I'm really enjoying this. So Terry's like desperately trying to get to Jackie and try and avoid, you know, all the ground collapsing. Damn. Crazy. Yikes. Okay. So we see Jackie is trapped underground. No pun intended. Actually trapped underground. Yeah, this is creepy 101. And we're now coming up to the big reveal. I think this is where, Jackie finally meets her dad, or what's left of him, face to face. Oh, well, so, cool. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. The bat sub. Cool. I don't remember a toy of that. At least I don't think there was one. I think there was a bat sub. No, yeah, I remember there was like a bat boat in the animated series that could go underwater. But yeah, we've kind of got something like that here. It's like a little mini bat sub. So that's kind of cool. I love how Ace is like yawning, like, yeah, whatever. So even from underwater, Earth Mover is still controlling everything. A scary individual. Oh, Ace just yawning, he's like, yeah, don't mind me. Here we go. So Terry's sub has been pulled into an underground cavern. All right. So we're now coming up to the big climax here, the big finale, as we like to say. So we see some like green glowing cracks, and oh dear lord, there is Jackie's dad. What's left of him? Oh my god. This is really scary. Look at him, he's like half of his body is gone. And it's just like his corpse. Oh dear. Poor guy. Oh no. Jeez. No, you stay. Oh dear. Whoa. Oh my god. Jackie stays. You die. Oh my god. Even though Bill's not really her dad, he's still very protective of Jackie. Say, do whatever you want to me, but leave Jackie out of it. She's done nothing wrong. No, you die. Wow, oh my god. So now we're getting like a whole army of Earth movers. Yeah, here we go. Nice. So, Terry to the rescue. That is scary. It's not the fact that he's just laying there, embedded in the ground, but his eyes are glowing green. That's scary. Yep, here comes the Earth Movers. That's like a whole army of them now. Wow. Heh, kaboom. Well, that was quite easy. If this was like a video game, let's just say we did get a Batman Beyond PlayStation game, this would definitely work as one of the main boss levels. So you're fighting Earth Mover, and then you got to go through all of them to get to the main guy. Yeah, this is definitely something you would have seen in a video game. Well, don't just stand there. Oh my god! Look at the size of that! Wow. Oh dear. So now, like the whole ground's glowing green. Yeah, just throw him in there. He'll be all right. I hope Bill can swim. Jeez. Yikes. Oh, so there's all the chemicals. Ugh. Yep, this was definitely a very horrific episode. Wow. Save the girl. Quick. Quick, 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 quick. There you go. That's my man. So now we're seeing like the whole cavern is collapsing. Jackie, no. Reminds me of the inside of the bat sub. Reminds me of Frank Miller's Batman in the Legends of the Dark Knight segment, where he was driving the tank and it was all red. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. So, getting the hell out of Dodge, getting out of here. Jackie. And the whole place is just collapsing now. And whatever's left of Jackie's dad is just gone. Oh my god. Wow. Quite a horrific ending. Oh wow. Wow. Jeez. Go on, Terry. That's it. Full speed. There you go. Wow. What you saw was just a ghost. No way anyone could have survived that. That is nuts. Wow. And that wraps up my audio commentary watch along for Earth Mover. All I've got to say is what a dark, intense, and horrific episode. That's all I've got to say. This was super dark, super intense, but very enjoyable. And as I said earlier, when DC do horror, they embrace it. They do it as good as anyone I have ever seen. And this was very exceptional. Very, very good. The idea of someone dying and their remains are embedded in the ground and they're able to create earthquake tremors. It's quite a scary ability, and creating these gigantic like monsters made of dirt, almost like zombies. Very impressive. Very enjoyable episode. Really like this one a lot. I think the only thing I would have liked to have seen is maybe they could have stretched this out for maybe a couple of more minutes. Maybe Batman gets Jackie and Bill to the surface and then see them off, something like that, just to let everyone know that they're doing okay. But I suppose they are doing okay, but just would have liked to have had a little bit more confirmation that those two are okay. And I think I would have liked to have had at least one scene with Terry letting Dana know that he's okay, and maybe he finds out that Dana is okay as well, because we never really saw Dana after this episode. And, obviously she would have been concerned about Terry getting knocked out the way he did. So it would have been nice if we just had a little reunion moment with Terry and Dana, letting each other know that they're doing okay. That's the only issue I had. But other than that, this was an excellent episode. For my money, without a doubt, probably the darkest episode in Batman Beyond. It really packed a hell of a punch. Very powerful, very intense, and highly emotional. I thought this was really good. Definitely one of my all time favourites from season two. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on Earth Mover? Did you enjoy it? What did you think of the Earth Mover character? Did you think he was interesting? Did you find it intriguing about the idea of a corpse able to create earthquakes. And what was your thoughts on Jackie's dad becoming the Earth Mover? Do you think it was a little bit horrific? And also, do you consider Earth Mover to be the darkest episode in Batman Beyond's run? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Batman Beyond review series, where I will be back to provide an audio commentary watch along for another episode from season 2. And this time it's going to be Joyride. So make sure you don't miss that. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.